Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2015 Royal Rumble! Are you mad? Are you fucking pissed off? You want to rip someone's head off? Well, you're not going to like me too much because of how I'm going to be feeling and seeing this Royal Rumble. But before I get to the Royal Rumble, let's get to all the matches that came before the main match itself. Now, the opening of the show, which is the pre-show, which no one really cared that much about, but I'm going to say it, New Day versus Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. Now, they beat New Day, and they kind of set it up saying, well, you know, now New Day has gotten beaten. That means Cesaro and Kidd now have a shot at the tag titles. They're in the title hunt. It would have been better, just for me personally, if it would have been Miz and Mizdow versus them. Because this entire show, other than the Royal Rumble, had none but tag team matches. Oh my, woo! I don't remember how long it's been to have only tag team matches in any pay-per-view. It's been a long time for me, personally. We got like 5 tag team matches, not counting the triple threat. That's a lot. And I believe they could have took easily one of them out, like the Usos versus the Miz and Mizdow. You could have easily made this a #1 contenders match for the tag belts. I think that would have been better. You could have gotten rid of the kickoff show match and put it on to the show with Miz and Mizdow with Cesaro and Kidd. I think that would have been more effective. But now supposedly they're in the title hunt, and that's Kidd and Cesaro. I still believe Cesaro should be a face and he should be doing something. But this is what we got. Opening match of the show is the Road Dogg and the Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. I didn't really see much of the New Age Outlaws years ago. Like I always say, between 91 until 2002, I very sporadically looked at wrestling. But I did see them and they were somewhat entertaining. Here, it looks like they're using them just to get tag teams over. They did this with the Usos. They've now done this with the Ascension. I do feel like it was a solid enough match that the Ascension did get presented pretty well. That's what we got from all the tag matches. Even the pre-show one was pretty much a basic solid match. Doesn't mean it was a great match. Miz and Mizdow versus the Usos was also a solid match. But like I said, they could have taken the Usos out and clearly could have put Tyson Kidd and Cesaro in, saying a #1 contenders match. Then you could have done that on Raw or building into the Fastlane, which is the next pay-per-view, which is stupid because I really believe Elimination Chamber shouldn't have been removed. I like the Elimination Chamber, but we got what we got. But that's just my feeling. Now here's a match you're not going to believe that I actually believe was actually pretty good. The Bellas versus Natalya and Paige. Now, Natalya was the one who was doing the majority of the work in the entire match. Now, I know if anyone who's a Bella fan is going to say, dude, the Bellas was kicking ass and taking names. I will not dispute they did a decent job. But let me ask you this, and this is for any fans of the Bellas. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. What are they doing? Do they have a feud? Do they have a storyline? The only thing they have, and I'm sure you're going to say, who cares? One of them is a tag champ. This is hard to explain while I'm botching. Essentially speaking, one of the two Bellas has the belt. And I'm sure you're going to be happy with that. You see both Bellas and one of them has the belt, and that's all that matters to you. Fine. They're on Total Divas. Fine. That makes you happy. But if you look at this objectively, and I'm being honest here for the people who love the Bellas, I'm asking this honestly, and I ask you to step back for a minute. What have they done that gave them such a great payoff since 2014? I'm asking this honestly. What type of gift did the Bellas get in 2014? Well, you had one Bella working with Stephanie. Then you had another Bella working with Stephanie. And they had the option of having a signature pay-per-view match together over the Divas Championship. And what happened? They backed off that shit really badly and really quickly. And then they threw the Bellas into the worst situation you could think of. Having one as the attendant to the other. And then when you think you could still get a payout for the Bellas at TLC, at least the minimum of TLC or the maximum, you get one Bella turning on the face when she was a face. And I'm talking about Brie. You could have done something that could have given the Bellas a better pay-per-view buyout than both of them turning heel together and now working together where they're basically doing nothing. I'm sure you're happy, those who love the Bellas, but looking at it objectively, the Bellas have actually gotten hosed. I'm not a Bella fan. I'm not. I've always said this. I'm not a Bella fan. I'm not even watching Total Divas now that Naomi's not on there. I'm not. Naomi was the reason I was watching. I've never been a Bella fan, but I can say this. These women have been pushed in a way that they should have gotten a proper payout, and this is all they get. They get a pay-per-view match together that meant nothing. It wasn't for the title. It wasn't for a clear winner, even though Paige was the one who did the job. I mean, she won. I mean, you know what I mean. She didn't win. She's the one that supposedly is going to go after Nikki now because she's the one got kicked and everything else. I know she didn't really get kicked. She got pulled off the apron by Brie. And now that is the one that's going after Nikki. Unless it's going to be Natalya, which I think is going to be Paige. But it would have been better if it was an actual match. I'm sorry. It could have been a number one contenders match for the Divas Championship with Paige or Natalya or Paige or Brie. I know they've done it together already, but you get my point. Now, the match of the night. The triple threat for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It was the match of the night. It was. The ones who were doing the most work in the entire match was Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. I'm saying it right now. If you believe Cena was doing really great work more than them, more power to you. But I'm trying to see this objectively. And Cena was the third in line. Seth was trying to sell as much as he could for Cena and Brock. Brock, who got his ass handed to him by Cena and Seth Rollins, sold as much of their hits as possible and then got up and showed how much of a fucking beast that he's supposedly been booked as. But here's the problem. Brock won that match, supposedly with one broken rib, and basically Paul Heyman didn't even pay attention. He's screaming, the defending, retaining WWE World Heavyweight Champion Brock Lesnar didn't even pay any attention to his man who's going, oh, motherfucker broke my ribs. Paulie, you so into yourself you don't pay attention to your client? I'm just saying. But in the end, here's the problem I see. We got Brock, unless he's going to lose at Fastlane, is going to basically headline WrestleMania. That's going to happen. But now, Brock seems to be totally unbeatable. And I know what you're going to say when it comes to the Royal Rumble match. I'm going there in a minute. But you get my point. This just, I think they might have overbooked him a little bit too much. He needs to look a little more vulnerable. I mean, now they're saying he has a broken rib. Of course, they can show him taped up and he'll have 2 months basically to get ready. I mean, from February going, well, actually, essentially February halfway into March, he supposedly would be healed by then. But he seemed a little too strong. That just doesn't look too good for the person who won. Which, now, here we go into the Royal Rumble. And I gotta say it right now. We're going into Royal Rumble. Commentation sucked. I'm saying it right now. Just didn't feel right. But what we got wasn't a bad Royal Rumble match, but it wasn't great either. Now, The Miz and R-Truth started it. I would have picked somebody else, that could have easily gotten that spot. Maybe a Bray Wyatt, who came in 5th, I believe. He was the 5th one that came in. I do admit it was nice to see Bully Ray, which is Bubba Ray, show up as number 3. Now, I don't know if he's going to be continuing working with the WWE after this. There's a good chance it's a one-liner for him. Like DDP, who came in as, number, what was he? 14. It was great to see Diamond Dallas Page, baby, and do the diamond color properly. Randy, this guy is in his 50s. You're in your your mid-30s. He knows how to do the shit properly. You need to change up the diamond cutter and make it special. Like you did once before. You lift the guy up and then you threw the guy down in the diamond cutter. That was great. And that also reminds me. Everyone thought Randy was going to show up. He didn't show up. No Randy Orton. No Batista. Nothing. And I'm sure a lot of people were wondering, where the hell is Randy Orton fitting in? And he never did. But this wasn't about Randy Orton. This wasn't about Batista coming back. This is about what happened during the entire thing, particularly with all of the internet-loved wrestlers. You know the ones I'm going to talk about. When it came to Dolph, he was number 30. Everyone saw after it was all done in the middle of near the end, when the ones they wanted so badly got fucked. They thought he was going to get it. Nope. Got knocked out by Big Show and thrown out with Kane and Big Show. Then you got Ryback, who also got thrown out. The person I believe that should have never been put into the match at all should have been Bad News Barrett. You know why? Where the hell is his match at the Royal Rumble? His IC Championship could have been done in the Royal Rumble. We got so many tag teams, which admittedly was different. We haven't had so many tag teams in a while, like I said in the beginning of the show, of this review show. But why couldn't he have a match? Hell, you could have put on the fucking pre-show if it had to come down to it. The man deserved to have his own match at the Royal Rumble and didn't even get it. But all the people you wanted got thrown out near the end. Dean Ambrose, and I got something to say about Dean, but he did pretty well. Bray Wyatt, who was number 5, did wonderful, but even he got thrown out. And with Dean Ambrose, when it came to Roman Reigns, popped his ass in the face. He's hitting Big Show, bang! He hit him right in the face and made his mouth bleed. Oh man, that was an ugly move because you can see Roman Reigns, he went, he literally got knocked back because of the whack he received. Because Dean Ambrose was pounding on the back of a Big Show when he came in and he just got whacked straight in the face. He was bleeding. Either one of his teeth got knocked out or it split his lip because he was bleeding pretty heavy by the time it was over. And by the time The Rock came out, he still had a lot of blood in his mouth. And I know so many people are so angry as fucking hell the way they did the ending with Big Show, with Kane, with Rusev. I'm going to be honest here. It made me laugh. I'm sorry. I knew when Roman Reigns came out, after what happened, and I will say his name in a minute, I realized there was going to be some weird swerve. And there was a swerve. They had to try and sell this because I've seen the Slick Daddy's videos. I've seen a little bit of the Wrestling Guru. I saw about NJ talking about it. And you know what? The way things were, they felt like they had no option but to compensate because the crowd did not want to see Roman Reigns win. I'm sorry, Wayne's. Nobody wanted to see Roman Reigns win. They wanted to see only Bryan win. But once things had gone down the way they had no option, as far as they were concerned, to set it up the way they did. Do I believe it was done well? Of course not. It was so cheesy. It was obvious. It was terrible. And the worst thing was that you could not give Roman Reigns and Rusev more than a few seconds to fight each other alone. These guys came up from NXT together. You couldn't give these guys 2 to 3 minutes. It had to be less than 10 seconds for Rusev to get his ass thrown out of the ring. If you're giving it 2 or 3 minutes, I say about 2 minutes with Rusev and Roman Reigns, it might have been better to sell than a few seconds, maybe 3 to 4 seconds after he jumps back in the ring and gets thrown out. It would have been better, and maybe the crowd wouldn't have booed so fucking much by the ending of it. Because the crowd booed most of it once Daniel Bryan is gone. So here's the 1,000-ton elephant in the room. How do I feel about Daniel Bryan getting kicked out? I laughed my fucking head off when he got his ass thrown. If you see my thumbnail of him, you see he was kicked out. And you see the Royal Rumble bit in there. You see him so defeated. And I know if I had gotten a better shot, you would see so many people going, no! I was laughing my fucking head off. You know why? Everyone here believed that Daniel Bryan was the only person that should go and face Brock Lesnar. They didn't care that Daniel Bryan had been gone for 9 months. That the only time you saw him was on Total Divas. That when he came back, he wasn't booked that strongly at first. Even though he had great promo segments. He did. He had beautiful promo segments that really showed how passionate he was to get back in the ring. How much he wanted people to know that he wasn't quitting. But if this was done 3 months ahead of time, or 2 months, I would say 100%, he would be the best person to go and face Brock Lesnar. But we had less than a couple of weeks to barely a month with him. And that's not enough build. And I know many people on the internet and the YWC saying, who gives a fuck? He's the best wrestler. He's the best built. Only if he's been there long enough to be built. He's been gone 9 freaking months, ladies and gentlemen. And as much as I believe he's a very good wrestler, and he doesn't have a bad character, you can't honestly believe the WWE was going to give someone who essentially has been gone 9 freaking months compared to a guy who'd been gone for about 4 to 3 months at least. And that's in the Roman Reigns. He had been back earlier. He had been built more than a Daniel Bryan. He'd been there too soon. And I know many people are going to say, dude, you're so biased against Daniel Bryan. No, I'm not. Daniel Bryan is proof that a big guy in the WWE doesn't always get over. Small guys as well do. And that is a good thing. Look at Bret Hart. Look at what happened with Shawn Michaels. And several other people, including the guy who will not be named. Even he got over. Small guys can get through the WWE. But you can't expect them to always put every time a small guy. This is not ROH. And it's not even TNA. This is an entirely different monster. And this is what people don't want to hear. Daniel Bryan is a great talent. And he can be a top face, and he is. But he hadn't been back for 9 months. He only had barely a couple of weeks of build. And even though you don't care, the WWE was not going to go with him. They're going to go with someone they really believe has more than what Daniel Bryan has in this situation. A little better build, a bigger physique, a more stronger character they believe, which I'm not saying his is that great. But I want to take something from the Slug Daddy. He always said this, and he says it best. You worry about people not being built enough into the WWE. But who is? Now, I know you're going to say, dude, that covers Daniel Bryan. Yes. But that's if he's been there a little more than a month. And he hasn't. By my perspective, I believe that Vince and Kenny McMahon, the guy who likes having someone's nose shoved up his ass so he can have what he wants, probably decided we can't let Bryan be there. It's not enough time for him. He needs to be built properly. He needs to have a good enough of a build so when he takes over again, it'll be something more substantial. Or he'll think, you know what, Daniel Bryan had his time. I don't give a fuck. We're going with a big guy because I like big men. Shame it wasn't Ryback because he was the biggest and most well-built out of everybody. Because if you're going to be honest here, as per my perspective, Ryback should have been the one to win it because he came back earlier than Roman Reigns after his surgery. He had a decent build. He worked in Survivor Series going to TLC, and he had the better look People wanted Ryback. If they let him win, it would have made more sense, by my perspective, because he had a longer time, a better build. The crowd really did want him when Daniel Bryan wasn't there. That's just me. But how do you feel about Daniel Bryan not making it? I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh at you guys, and I'm not. You guys think I'm laughing at you because you're angry that Daniel Bryan didn't win. I'm not laughing because you guys are angry and sad. I'm laughing because when it really comes down to it, so many people really believe what they wanted to believe. And when it comes down to it, because they weren't willing to be more objective, the WWE basically fucked them up the ass. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the situation you're in. Because the WWE fucked you. Every last one of you. I never said that Daniel Bryan was going to win. But I knew everyone was going to get angry because that's the one they wanted. So I hope you enjoyed this Royal Rumble 2015. Please give me a comment below. And please remember, I'm not laughing at you. But come on. You actually believe the WWE was going to let Daniel Bryan win? Like I said earlier, he wasn't ready. But just like the Seg Daddy said, who is? Have a good day and have a good night. Peace out!